Welcome back, guys. Today I'm gonna be showing you the damage chart on Destiny, like all the damage numbers on Destiny, and we're gonna be seeing how every single weapon on Season of the Lost is performing, and it's gonna be performing until obviously Destiny Bungie changes the damage numbers on the future season on an update damage. But as of today, this is the damage numbers on Destiny on the different weapons. We're going to be looking at different archetypes of weapons and scout rifles and auto rifles like precision, high impact, adaptive, rapid fire. And also we're going to be looking individually at exotic weapons. So let's begin with the scout rifle. So the lightweight, precision, rapid fire, and high impact scout rifle. So this first chart over here, as you guys can see, the average DPS, the simple DPS, and the 1 mag DPS is from the Luna faction boots, the rally barrier, the rally barricade, and the fuel prep. Those are with the buffs. Obviously, this is assuming the reload buff. I don't really like looking at this because this is only for specific moments, like basically like a raid or a, you know, master nightfall, or the Grandmaster Nightfall. This is what you want to use for the Grandmaster Nightfall. So basically these numbers are specific for that. You don't really use this unless it's a specific thing. So we are going to be looking for, well, we're going to be looking mostly at the normal ones, like just without any modifiers, without any mods, without anything, and without any buffs. So looking at the lightweight, so basically this is the time to empty the magazine. And then the simulated total damage. So basically, the simulated total damage right now out of the scout rifles, the best one is the high impact scout rifles right now. Number one is dealing the most damage. Like the rapid fire scout rifles are really bad. They're on 170 only. When you can, with a high impact rifle, you can put up to 340k damage. So this season, I would say high impact scout rifles are very strong. Now, looking at Polaris Lands, is still going strong. Polaris Lands has always been like a strong weapon, and like last season, Dead Man's Tale is still a great weapon for endgame content because it's putting up to 568k simulated total damage. Obviously, that's including you hitting every single shot. So basically, that's starting the spike of 0.9 across the mag. Buff is plus 30% with full uptime. So we are counting on, you know, Dead Man's Tale that you are hitting every single hit. This is the Dead Man's, I mean, catalyst or no catalyst, Dead Man's Tale put up the same amount of damage. So the total damage plus the empty technically is infinite. So on the Polaris Lands, so obviously, that's with the perfect fifth. That's the Polaris Lands catalyst. And then the Sky Burner's Oath is kind of like a bit low here. So I would say I would take out of the scout rifles, high impact scout rifles are competing with Polaris Lands. So I would rather use as high impact scout rifle rather than a Polaris Lands with some mods on the scout rifle on the high impact. And then Dead Man's Tale is still, you know, like last season, is still pretty strong. Let's move on to auto rifles. So best out of the all auto rifles, the simulated damage is the high impact auto rifles, which is we actually have a new high impact auto rifle on this Destiny on this season, which is the Crisura Milo. It's actually a really good high impact auto rifle, really good weapon. It's actually really high DPS right now. And if you have a chance, this is dropping from any activities on, you know, basically any activities on the Season of the Lost. So that's the, for example, that's one of them, the Crisura. So let me check. This is a high impact auto rifle, high impact frame. So you can see here, right here, high impact frame. So that's an example. There is not the only one. There's several ones. That's the best one right now, and the adaptive is also really close. Next, we're gonna go with the sweet business. Right. So one of the surprises here. Okay. So one of the surprises here is Sweet Business is actually one of the best performing weapons on the auto rifle. Sweet Business is actually putting up 413k damage, which is actually better than Polaris Lands and a high impact scout rifle. And it's only behind Dead Man's Tale if you actually hit every single crate on the Dead Man's Tale. So Sweet Business is actually a pretty good weapon. which is actually, it's, I would say, Sweet Business is a very viable weapon right now on PvE and PvP content. I don't know, PvP, I mean, obviously it's kind of like very situational, but I would use it on PvE if you like doing strikes or maybe a nightfall that is not that difficult. You know, not a master, you know, maybe a master nightfall, maybe not. I wouldn't use it on a master nightfall, but other activities I would use that. So Cerberus +1, right? So this is the number one surprise. Cerberus +1 right now, as of today, is the highest DPS weapon on the entire game. Highest DPS weapon on the entire game. Number one is the biggest surprise. Cerberus +1. Would you believe that? Well, actually don't believe that so much, because Cerberus +1 is not the highest damage weapon DPS, because it's like it's very unlikely to have that performance, because literally what you have to do to deal 744k damage with a Cerberus +1 is literally hit everything. Point blank. It's not viable. Any boss will destroy you if you're shooting with Cerberus +1 point blank. There is, like, obviously, it's not reliable. You cannot approach a boss and stay right next to a boss shooting with the Cerberus +1 and hitting every single shot. It's not viable. Obviously, that's kind of like that's a raw number. If you were meant to be hitting every single shot, it's actually a really good damage though. Will it perform like this? No. I think on a normal situation, Cerberus +1 will probably deal about 300k damage, probably close to 400k. Cerberus +1 is still a strong weapon. Obviously, it would be performing the best if you hit every single weapon with the perfect RNG as well, catalyst on it. And next is the Vex Mythoclast. Vex Mythoclast works as an auto rifle, even though it's a fusion rifle. Right now is the best. It's actually the best DPS weapon, because I'm gonna explain why. Vex Mythoclast, you don't need anything to prop. Like Vex Mythoclast, it's already a good weapon. All you have to do with Vex Mythoclast is shoot things. Like, you have to shoot things, and you don't need anything to prop. You don't need any of the, you know, any of the stuff to prop, any of the buffs or anything. Vex Mythoclast on raw damage actually performs the best out of the entire game. Number one, it's very simple. Like, literally, you don't have to do nothing but shoot enemies. And like, I would say Vex Mythoclast right now is just king of Destiny. I'm gonna try Cerberus +1 and see how it performs on some of the activities. I want to see how it actually performs. I haven't used Cerberus +1 in a long time. Suros regime, sadly, has gone downhill, so that's sad. Let's go on to the hand cannons. So out of the hand cannons, the best performing hand cannon is the aggressive frame hand cannons, which, let me show you an aggressive frame hand cannon. Aggressive frame, yeah, there you go, the steady hand. So we're gonna go into the steady hand. So the steady hand right here, this is one of the, basically the best performing hand cannons right now. It's not good because the only damage they can put up is literally 200k damage. It's not strong at all. That's very weak compared to the rest of the weapons. Now, Last Word is very weak as well. As we all know, it performs very well on PvP. Thorn performs very well on PvP, not good on PvP, on PvE content. And Hawkmoon, which is expected. Hawkmoon actually, you know, it's really strong, 564k raw damage, but that's actually counting with the 7 stacks if you hit every single shot on your Hawkmoon. So you have to hit every single shot, prop everything, and then get the last shot as well. So if you hit every single shot on the Hawkmoon as a crit shot, and then you hit the last one, you will be putting out the max crit damage, which I'm saying is actually higher than Vex, but you are required to hit everything with Hawkmoon. With Vex, all you have to do is shoot the enemy. That's it. Second best is probably Crimson. Crimson is actually quite strong with 358. Actually heals you at the same time when you kill enemies. Pretty good. Let's move on to the SMGs. SMGs is my least favorite archetype right now. They don't have much love. Like, everything is like really weak. The precision frame is the only one that can put up to 220. Kind of like weak compared to the rest of the ones. And then Huckleberry 245 and Taraba 468. Obviously, Taraba has to be using the, you know, has to be propping the actual Ravenous Beast perk on it. You know, 468 with the Ravenous base is very unlikely that you have a prop continuously. So it's the best exotic SNG right now. If you're looking for an exotic SNG, Taraba right now is really strong. It's the latest SNG that I actually got to complete my exotic collection, and I'm very happy with Taraba. Let's move on to the bows. So bows, you know, in line what they have been in the previous seasons, they are quite weak in general. They're okay. They're okay. They're on the, you know, on the normal side. Not very strong, not very weak. They're on the medium size. And then we got Le Monarch, 357k. That's actually pretty good numbers. And the Wishender. I would say the Wishender is actually king if you are using bows for PvE activities. I actually like the taking. Against the taking, actually, I gotta mention this. It's against the taking. When you are actually attacking non-taking, is 391. If you are doing a taking activity, it's gonna put up a high DPS. It's 431k, which is pretty good. If you need to use, like for example, this season we have the overload with the bows. You know, Wishender is a very good alternative to any other weapons as an exotic, with the bow and the overload. Then on the sidearms that actually have come back to be very strong this season. The adaptive frame with the 3 burst is actually putting out the biggest damage, and it's amazing. Actually, I think this season we have the adaptive 3 burst. I think this season is the one that we have, isn't it? The Peace Bond is an adaptive frame with a 3 burst. Yeah. So, for example, we have the Peace Bond. So this is the Peace Bond right here. So with Peace Bond, we literally have a... this is the Iron Banner weapon. It's a 3 adaptive frame with a 3 burst. This is a really high damage weapon right now. It's kind of like, you know, on sidearms, it's meta. Then after that, I would say Devil's Ruin is okay. Just half damage, and the Rat King with the 5-pack is okay damage, and it's not really the best. Grenade Launcher, Fighting Lion, very weak damage. And Outbreak Perfected, you know, Outbreak Perfected with the nanites, it's putting out, you know, max damage, assuming you are hitting every single nanite and you're hitting every single crit. So even though Outbreak Perfected is really strong if you are actually hitting with the nanites, the base raw damage of the weapon is very, very weak. Obviously, if you are able to hit big crit spots on a boss or something with the Outbreak Perfected, you know, it's actually with 6 players, so it's very. If your whole team is using Outbreak with the nanites, it puts out a crazy amount of damage. If you want to test this out, I would test this out on a game, on an activity like Vault of Glass with Atheon. Everyone using Outbreak Perfected with the max nanites, it will probably destroy, you know, Atheon very easily. Let's go on to the special weapons. Those was the primary weapons first, and then the special weapons, we are gonna go and check on the snipers first. So, out of the snipers in general are quite weak, all of them. The max mag, the aggressive frame with the max mag, it's kind of like the best archetype right now. And then we have Cloud Strike is very weak as well, and Sanakis Burden is weak. Like they're not having any love this season for the sniper rifles for some reason. Out of the shotguns, shotgun wise, we have average, like low, I would say low on everything. Obviously shotguns are good for short range, and you know, the slug shotgun, the precision is my favorite archetype. And then we have Lord of Wolves, which actually performs at 210k with the Wolves release, 220k. And then Duality, 225, pretty good as well. And the Chaperone, obviously Duality, Chaperone, and you know, they're both pretty good on PvP. So PvE, you know, activities are, you know, kind of like meh. Obviously shotguns are pretty good on short range, and they're a lifesaver if you're getting, you know, activities with short range enemies. So what else? Grenade launchers on the Witherhold. We all know Witherhold is an amazing, you know, amazing weapon. 740k, one of the highest DPS weapons. It can be doubled by one stock, one on the ground. So basically, if you stock one and put one on the ground, you know, it doubles the actual damage to 1.4 million. very like you can actually do it. That's why Witherhoard is actually being very strong. Like, don't sleep on Witherhoard if you actually have some activity. Like Witherhoard right now, grenade launchers is not meta because right now meta is linear fusion rifle and fusion rifles. But you know, Witherhoard being able to put up this damage on a different meta, which is not this archetype, it's crazy. You know, it's a very strong weapon still. Now with fusion rifles, you know, we all know it's meta this season. Fusion rifles, aggressive frame being one of the best. The Iota Draconis is a very good choice as a fusion rifle right now. With the, obviously you have to have equipped you know, the Wayfinder's Compass. You have to find the, what is it, what's it call it, the it's the armor mods, which is the particle deconstruction. The particle deconstruction is actually the mod that you have to be like using right now on Destiny. It's meta. Particle deconstruction, fusion rifle, linear fusion rifles are gonna be very strong. So aggressive frame, number one out of the archetype on the fusion rifles. And then we have Jotun, 225k, pretty good. 250 on the Bastion. Telesto with the Catalyst, it's putting up to 312k damage. So Telesto is actually really good, and Merciless, like Merciless is probably the worst out of all the exotics. Right, so next thing is gonna be like Trace Rifles. On the Trace Rifles, the number one Trace Rifle is Cold Heart, still with the max charge catalyst. Cold Heart, not many people, I haven't seen many people using Cold Heart, and it's actually amazing. I've been using it and it's really, really good. Probably top of the line right now if you're using you know, a Trace Rifle. And then we have the special linear rifles, which is, you know, the Ariana's Bow and the special Lawrence, like the Lawrence Driver, which is actually putting really good damage, but, you know, not top of the line. And out of the heavy weapons right now, we have Anarchy, number one, with the max damage, but also, that's been me actually, Vincent. Right now, because the meta is linear and fusion rifles, you know, grenade launchers are not, you know, the meta right now, but it's still being the highest DPS out of all the grenade, you know, the grenade launchers. Number one is Anarchy, so the closest one is probably gonna be, you know, precision frame with spike grenades, probably gonna be 190k, which is pretty good. 195k actually, sorry. Rocket launchers, Deathbringer. Like, so many people with Deathbringer not even know this. Deathbringer with the max catalyst actually deals a huge amount of damage. Would I use this over the Vex or any other weapon, or the exotic weapon? No, but still very strong weapon. The hacker, not the hacker, sorry, the aggressive frame with the impact casing out of the grenade launchers, of the legendary grenade launchers, is actually really good one. Bad Omens, which obviously came back last season. So the Bad Omens is an aggressive frame. So Bad Omens right now is dealing the most damage. If you have the actual extra damage with the impact casing on one of the mods on the Bad Omens, is probably the best grenade launcher that you can use out of all the grenade launchers. Also, let's go on to the machine guns. So like, I see a lot of people using like grenade launchers and the, you know, rocket launchers, because obviously it's what most people are using on Destiny in general. Machine guns, linear fusion rifles are probably keen right now with 1k voices. So let's go on to this. This is very important. Like, just pay attention to this. High machine guns, high impact frame, number one right now, 317k raw damage. That is insane for a heavy machine gun, which is just a heavy machine gun, which is only, you know, like a legendary heavy machine gun. So let me find one heavy machine gun with I believe is a high impact frame, which I believe is high impact frame. I got one here. High impact frame, Archon's Thunder. So if you have Archon's Thunder from Iron Banner, I believe this is from this season, Archon's Thunder, or the previous season, is actually pretty good. It's a really good weapon. If you can acquire this is actually putting out right now the best raw damage out of all the you know, heavy machine guns, out of all the legendary weapons. if you can get a good roll on that, that would be amazing. So don't sleep on that one, man. Like, honestly, really good damage for a heavy weapon. Then the Head Apparent is pulling out the biggest damage, even better than Xenophage. Xenophage has been king for so long, and now it's been taking over the Head Apparent. So if you have the Head Apparent, and you can obviously... I love Head Apparent, as you all know. I've been using Head Apparent for a very long time. It's actually the best exotic heavy machine gun. But look at the difference of raw damage. Only 50k between one and the other. So I would rather use a legendary, you know, high impact frame heavy machine gun rather than exotic as a heavy, and that would save you a lot of you know, obviously a lot of another space for an exotic on another slot. Now with the linear fusion rifle, the precision linear fusion rifle are putting a huge amount of damage, and as you guys know, they like I said, you know, it's right now the particle deconstruction is king. So man, linear fusion rifles are doing an amazing amount of damage. Now, Queen's Breaker's Bow, I have seen so many people, like no one. I was actually talking about Queen's Breaker's Bow yesterday. I was like, how is Queen's Breaker's Bow doing right now? Well, Queen's Breaker's Bow is the best linear fusion rifle in the game with the marksman sights. And then Leviathan 1k voices is pretty strong as well, obviously. You know, it props the particle deconstruction. And Leviathan's Breath is really, really good as well. High, you know, really high damage as a base. Then you have the Legend of Agrios and the Tractor Cannon. They're not doing very much. Obviously, you know, you get the debuff with the Tractor Cannon with the Void. We all know that. But I gotta be honest with you. Big surprise for me. I got like let's go through the swords also. The swords, like you have, this is the damage of the swords. You got the light attack loop, which deals the you know, the biggest damage right now as a raw damage, and then you got the heavy, which is the light attack, and the heavy at the end deals a really good damage. And then you got the this is the adaptive Jack Edge, the adaptive, the Honey Edge, the adaptive with the Enduring Blade, really the best one. The Enduring Blade is the best one out of all the damage. And then you get the Vortex, and then you get the Vortex with Enduring Blade, and all the different damages. The combo with the Lightweight Edge is the biggest damage out of all of them, I think. No, the biggest damage is actually the Lightweight with the Honey Edge. No, Lightweight with Hungry Edge. Jesus Christ, 486k. Damn. 183k with Aggressive Enduring Edge, and the Lament, which is an exotic. Black Talon is not really good right now, but the Lament is actually putting out the biggest damage right now. The Lament gives you anti-barrier, which is a big thing if you're using a weapon like that. Out of the, like I would say, out of all the weapons, I would say the biggest surprise is Lament, actually. One of my biggest surprise is the biggest surprise is the heavy machine guns, which not many people are using, and they are really high impact. They're really high damage ones. And out of the trace rifles, like the Cold Heart is my biggest surprise. All the trace rifles are actually actually doing really well, really good damage right now. Best weapons, hands down, still are number one, like to me, obviously, is best weapons is Wishender because of the overload that is used in a lot of activities right now. Obviously, Hawkmoon if you hit every single shot, and Vex Mythoclast. Cerberus +1 is another surprise, actually. Very good surprise. And Sweet Business and Cerberus +1 is a very good surprise on both of them. I really like them. Dead Man's Tale is expected. Vex Mythoclast, best gun in the game, hands down. Hawkmoon, really good if you can hit every single shot. I really like how the Hawkmoon feels. And the Wishender, if you're using an activity where you need overload rounds. And then out of the special weapons, Witherhoard, the best exotic by far. And Cold Heart, if you want to mess with some stuff. I wouldn't use this on endgame, to be honest. And then out of the heavies, it's like Anarchy, because I like using Anarchy. I don't use it as much now. And yeah, I would go Head Apparent and the 1k voices. Even though 1k voices raw damage is not, the simulated raw damage is not the best, but when you prop that, you know, when you prop the particle deconstruction, is absolutely insane the damage the 1k voices can put out. So I think this has been it. This has been everything for the damage chart on Destiny 2. Those are the best weapons on Destiny 2 that you can use for the end game. So if you like this content, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay up to date with everything Lorval Gaming. And if you have any questions, just pop into my stream. I stream every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, twitch.tv/Lorval Gaming. So thank you very much, guys, for everything. Until next time, bye-bye.